photography was important to me very early on. I later moved more into moving images, video specifically, working in essay films, and also since maybe a couple of years I'm also concerned or interested in a writing practice, though it's not a literary writing practice, it's more like me writing as an artist, and I find that images and words complement each other or each say something else, and in combination I find the proper density or complexity that I'm seeking out. So my work has been closely connected with sense of place, with city. I say city even though that's a very big word. I'm interested in the urban environments, both in a sense of public space, but also as someone who lives or likes to live in urban environments. My dialogues with the city happen often through, I would say, different ways. Can be a coincidence, for example, in Torino, that's where I did a project before I came to Milan that I kept me busy for quite some time, and it really came about because I read a novel by Giorgio De Maria when I was spending time in Torino. Just for a short time, I read his novel called 20 Days of Torino, venti, giornate, di Torino. And it's a horror mystery novel that guides through the city of Turin. So I was very fascinated with it because I was new to the city, and I could tell it guided me through streets and through fiction, and I was becoming curious what those places were. So I also began being interested in this voice of this novel. It's a horror mystery novel. There's like an unknown detective that roams the streets, and I felt very much that's a bit like an alter ego to an artist. So I became not a detective, but an artist searching in public space along the traces of this novel, and it's again this book, which became a film that I made. I made an essay film just about the places. Often those would be monuments, public squares, streets, and obviously there's a lot of layers in these books and the history to the city. And I worked on a book that was a bit more inclusive of the different layers of my research. It includes my own journey in the city in a combination of observational texts from myself, in fragments from the novel, photography, found photography, archival photography. So it's both, I would say, a research, an artistic research, a time travel, and still an alternative narration, I would say, an attempt to do an alternative documentation of the city. My maybe most important project here is something that came about very by coincidence, because I live and work here and via Farini and in this studio, and when you walk back outside from the studio you will be in a back alley called Via della Boscaiola. Via della Boscaiola was first my place for camera tests and kind of starting in the morning, just getting my day started, thinking about images. And the more I did that, the more I realized that I'm working on a project in Via della Boscaiola, because it's a very hidden street. It's not the obvious place in Milan where you might do a project, so it totally suits my interest of a certain backstage or liminality of place, and I wanted to explore it in the format of an essay film. And I also wanted to explore the history of the street a bit more, because it's one of the oldest here, and it's connecting me back to the past, but also helps me bridge into the future of a lot of what's happening in urban planning here in Isola neighborhood nearby. So Via della Boscaiola is in the shadows of the grand towers that you see nearby, and that's a film that's going to be finished while I'm here.